Hey everyone, I'm Tassenix, and welcome to a Plotting and Scheming Extra. This time we're covering the kit reveal for Crosshair Scarred. I am joined, of course, by the rest of the Plotting and Scheming crew. It is Dagger, TJ, Sasha, Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, how you guys doing?
I'm ready for this kit.
I'm feeling Bad Batch complete.
Yes, at last. Yeah, we'll be finally able to
The
give
whole
a
team is
complete
coming into
thought.
focus, as if it were a target of some sort.
Can't talk right now. Reading kit.
Yeah.
All right, well,
One might say Sasha currently has the kit in his crosshairs.
Oh, dreadful.
Very good.
All right. Unit name is Crosshair Scarred. Alignment, light side. Categories, attacker and Bad Batch. Key attributes, a deadly sharpshooter who deals significant damage. The final piece of the kernel for the new Bad Batch. Final piece of the kernel for the new Bad Batch? Okay, whatever. Crosshaired Scarred benefits immensely from having more target practice stacks, as he can get rid of the shaken stacks by having target practice stacks. Don't say that 5 times fast. Inspiration, blah, blah, blah. Sorry?
But don't worry, wasn't gonna.
Yeah. Strategy tips. Crosshair Scarred starts with a powerful stacking debuff, Shaken. There are multiple ways to remove Shaken stacks. Make sure to utilize his and his Bad Batch allies' kits correctly to eliminate Shaken and restore him to his status as a great sharpshooter. With his second ability, Target Secured, Crosshair Scarred can deal a high amount of damage, which also scales with the number of turns taken by him and the enemies before this ability is used. Okay. And, as of the time of this recording, he just came out today. So, in-game, unlockable today. So let's go down to his unique first.
Worth mentioning before we dig in, they have a new way for, I guess, I was gonna say American dollars, but I guess any dollars in your designated currency, where you can buy 100 shards to kind of get you to that hump. So,
if and only if you are able to play on PC, right? Or is that PC and web store, or what is it?
I believe it is PC exclusive. It might be on the web store, but TJ, I think said it was PC exclusive.
I was a sad boy. The only reason I said it was PC exclusive because if you watched Arnold's video, he has the PC setup, which I don't. So I have to. I'm a teleporter guy. I play on the iPhone and the Apples.
It's on the web store.
No, I checked there as well. It's not on the web store for me.
I see it there. It's a web/PC special.
I did not see it there, but again, that's for whatever it is.
You should be delighted to be wrong. You'll find it later. Yeah. I'm sure of you.
Well, I'm already done, man. I'm not spending another.
I'm ready to go. Never mind. Now I see.
Yeah, I did crystals, not dollars myself, because I had crystals and didn't want to spend dollars.
Fair. Very fair. Yeah, I did go with the 100 thing pack, which was ridiculous.
It was a really good deal. Like, if you're into buying new characters for monies, the $30 pack plus that gets you, like, all the shards you need to 7-star this item.
I'm going to ask all of you, are you linked to the PC client?
No.
Because I've looked for mine, it could be just me then, because I've looked on my web store right now, and it's not there unless I'm looking in the wrong spot. All I see is the 12...
So go down to character. So it's currency, and then character.
That's probably what it is.
Fourth on the right.
Oh, yep, right there. It tells you what I don't use.
Turns out TJ's dumb, and it was
I'm just not savvy with that, so I'm okay with that. But even then, I still would have done it. I would still done the crystals like you did, Dagger.
I don't know how to get to the YouTubes.
Nope. I'm okay with that.
It's very good.
I mostly just wanted to highlight the fact that now, with the pass, the $20 pass, the Era Pass, and the $30 4-star pack, and now the $75 get you to 15 out of 100 pack for the low price of, what is that, $125 plus tax. You can get.
I think it's pretty cool, man. But I want to know if it's going to be a permanent, right, or if it's just a one-off for people who went that way. Because don't forget, they still called it out in this kit, and we'll go through it, that you needed the certain characters to be able to do it. So you've bought up.
Yeah.
It almost feels like this is your gimme of saying, here, you get the bonus because you've bought all the other characters.
Anyways, I like the idea of just selling it for dollars. Take the RNG packs out. Because I was telling TJ that like the RNG packs suck.
I was talking about this with folks earlier. It's just we all see this as such a big deal because of the very successful price anchoring done by CG, right? Like
it's so true.
Dude, it's lowering it to the perspective more people can
It
get.
was 150. Now it's 125 plus tax. Like it's getting cheaper, and I agree. It's still a lot of money. I'm not arguing.
Yeah. But they're sweetening the deal, and it's like, oh yeah, you see, you're getting this, this really good bargain on this digital good.
You're also being able to buy the full Omi too, because you get the 5 from the $30 pack, and you get the 15 from that pack. Plus, you get Omis from the event itself.
And don't forget, you have the Ascension event going on. So it's like, and I think that's what you're talking about, Dagger, right? So it's like they have a lot of different ways. I think they're testing the waters, if I had to guess, like they did with the bespoke Omicron and other things. But it at least shows that they're trying to spread their wings on how they reach their audience. So I'll take anything where they're trying new things. Fail or succeed, at least they're trying something.
Fair enough.
And they're charging us for the test, so don't worry. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I thought it was kind of interesting to talk about.
Fair enough. All right, let's get into his unique. It's in my head. Zeta and Omicron. Final text at the start of...
Oh, no. I just have the Cranberries playing in my head now. In my head. In my head. You don't even know you don't get the reference. It's the Zombie by the Cranberries.
So
you didn't
Dagger will be tarred and feathered later for interrupting the kit. Go to the kit, sir.
No. Are you quite all right now, Dagger?
No, fuck you. But go ahead.
Final text. At the start of battle, Crosshair, scarred, gains 200% defense for 3 turns and is inflicted with 20 stacks of Shaken, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Whenever Crosshair Scarred gains a stack of target practice, he removes 1 stack of Shaken and gains 15% turn meter. Whenever all stacks of Shaken are removed, Crosshair Scarred dispels all debuffs on himself and takes a bonus turn. He gains 100% accuracy while targeting a marked enemy. If there are no Galactic Legends, Crosshair Scarred's attacks ignore protection. While in Grand Arenas, and there are no Galactic Legends, so here's your Omi, whenever Crosshair Scarred is inflicted with a debuff, he dispels it and gains 5% offense, stacking max 100% for 1 turn. Whenever a Bad Batch ally with target practice uses a special ability, Crosshair Scarred assists. And Shaken, the debuff he starts with, is defined as minus 10% accuracy per stack. This effect persists through defeat. So
I have a question on this that I don't know if we have an answer to. That he gains 100% accuracy while targeting marked enemy. Is that a standalone clause or is that tied to the bonus turn?
You would think that the way that it's organized as a clause, you would think it's they're intimately related. I don't know.
That's why I'm asking if anybody has done any testing yet to figure out if that is the case. Because that means at 10 stacks he'd be hitting if it's not for that bonus turn.
I think it's just always true, but I haven't been able to play test yet.
All right, no worries. That was just a question I had.
What in the hell? Okay, that's a whole bunch of stuff. All right, I'll look through that later. I was hoping something might jump out. Anyway, that's his unique. Okay, we understand that now. Let's go back to his basic. A hit or a miss. Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy 3 times and inflict them with defense down for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. If this attack misses, expose them for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. So, while you have Shaken, and you're not hitting anything because you have Shaken, you're at the very least applying Expose for allies. It's not bad.
This is another one of those where we, in the marquee event, it looks like you only land 1 Expose, right?
I don't know. I didn't actually.
Even though it says you'll damage 3 times, there's only 1 Expose?
That's how I would. Well, if this attack, Yeah,
misses.
because this attack is comprised of all 3 hits,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So yeah, I would expect you to get 1 expose.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. Special 1. I will handle it. Cooldown of 3. Final text. Deal physical damage to target enemy, dealing 10% more damage for each relic amplifier level Crosshair Scarred has. Call target Bad Batch ally to assist, dealing 50% more damage. If Crosshair Scarred was the target ally, so you can target himself like you can with JMK, I guess, he is not called to assist and instead removes 6 stacks of Shaken from himself and stuns the target enemy for 1 turn. And so you're thinking...
It also doesn't say it can't be, the stun can be evaded. So does that mean that he doesn't, if he still has 10 or more stacks, the stun won't stick?
Yeah, there's nothing that says it can't be evaded or resisted, so you figure you're playing this and using it on himself while he still has the high stacks of Shaken, right?
Yeah, so he might not actually apply this. The stun might not be reliable based on how he gets played.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I would expect that as it is a physical damage attack or whatever. The point is that he has a negative accuracy at when you're probably going to go use this early in the fight, right? So you're not relying on the stun, or at least I wouldn't be. Okay, if ally Omega Fugitive is in the leader slot and the target enemy took damage from a Bad Batch ally's attack on the previous turn, reduce the cooldown of target secured by 1. So that's the next special. All right. Special 2. Target secured. Cooldown of 8. Final text. Crosshair Scarred gains 200% critical damage until the end of his turn. Deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict armor shred until the end of the encounter. This attack deals 50% more damage based on the number of turns taken by enemies and Crosshair Scarred before target secured is used again. Maximum of 500%. This attack can't be evaded and can't be used if Crosshair Scarred has Shaken. Alright, so that's your big nuke you're charging up to. So I want to highlight the unique again to think about all that. What jumps out at you guys?
I believe that the 200% crit damage does not work right now.
I posted that. They put somebody pulled it, and that's why I tagged Fatal in our scheme team chat. I'm like, look, Fatal, you have to do the testing to look at it. Because it looked like, what was it, the order of ops or something like that, right, Fatal?
Yeah, it just does the damage and then gives him the 200% crit damage after that. And it's only for 1 turn, so it just goes away immediately. I will say, I don't know that it really needs it. Seems like he's doing okay. But if there wishes for him to have it, then hopefully that gets fixed.
And if I'm not mistaken, he is a damage mastery build.
Agility. He's an agility attacker, not a strength attacker. So he doesn't have.
Yeah.
He does not have accuracy in his mastery to cheat with.
Yeah, he again in the vein of he never really need it, but goddamn, he would have been a really good strength attacker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just with the accuracy cheat, but the armor pen.
Sorry.
No, yeah, like obviously the accuracy cheat would be lovely, but the armor pen scaling, it would, like, just truly.
Yeah, that would have been nasty. That plus an accuracy arrow means that you can just cheese dick people with this really fast.
From all the testing footage that I saw in the last week, it seemed like after 1 self-cast and then the 100% accuracy on the unique, he was hitting pretty consistently, so I do think that it is just when anyone's marked, he just has the 100%.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do like his kit a lot. I love how this team feels almost Inquisitor level of, like, read the goddamn kits.
So this implies if you went for this and have it here for this last week of 3 versus 3, you would want to be doing this with Omega Hunter Well, Hunter and Bad Batch Mark, or sorry, not Hunter and Batcher Mark.
Yeah, both Hunter and Batcher Mark.
I don't think you're using either of them. I think
don't-
like
No.
to some degree.
Pretty sure you're using Wrecker.
Yeah, Wrecker. Because I was thinking
That's-
about Wrecker up until I was seeing that marked tie-in.
I'd love to see it work better, but
So-
this is a fives team.
Here's the thing. Assuming that the test footage that Barb does is correct, which, there's a variety of issues with Barb footage that I would take it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
But, for example, it looks like Crosshair Defense AI does not self-cast. I think it's probably just random, which means he could random self-cast, but when we're talking 3v3, Omega does not really contribute to target practice, right? Both of her specials are non-damaging. Wrecker, as the tank, you assume that he's not really going to be taking that many turns. Can contribute to target practice, but not always that simple. So my default instinct was, I don't think that you can reasonably post this team on defense and expect anything out of it. I no longer feel that way. And so let me tell you the tale of how I got there. The first thing that wasn't really a reason to post it, but it was just like I couldn't rule it out, is what if the team is just a fucking nightmare to kill? Or just like the price might be high enough or it's just annoying enough that like maybe it's not nothing, right? Because Crosshair Unique has a bunch of benefits to it that, I can't say no to that, right? I can't guarantee that there's nothing there. Or not Crosshair Unique, Record Unique. I don't remember which I said. But so that was column A. This is like, I can't rule that out. And then the thing that got me over the hump is like, maybe this actually is postable. So we have Crosshair who can't hit for shit and isn't really gonna ramp himself. The solution is Amp Bag, which talked about Amp Bag back in Batcher's kit era. It was a very different conversation back then because so much of the speculation after seeing Omega lead was about AoEs. And now that we know that the team just isn't really AoE oriented at all, that whole Amp Bag conversation doesn't matter anymore. But go look at Crosshair's basic. We got it exposed. That's one proc. We got unevadable, unresistible defense down. That's 2 procs. And it won't be relevant for this 3v3 season, but go look at Batcher's kit real quick. And look at Batcher basic. Count them. 3 debuffs. So when we're talking target practice ramp, Zori is no longer you see light side amp bag and you're like, oh, Zori. Zori and they more exposes. This team has now moved in as like, if it's an amp bag season, which it is right now, you will have some pretty good benefits. So I'm not here saying that like Crosshair will just come online immediately, but if you got the Omicron for the assists, you're counting down 2 per turn that he takes. And that is a path to Crosshair coming online. Through his own volition, you don't need to say, well, maybe if my Crosshair, 33% chance that he self-casts and that he would go -6 and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a play pattern where you potentially get to the point where Crosshair's online. I don't know if that necessarily means that they will be good on defense still, but it's at least a world where the defense game plan can execute.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you probably prefer them on offense just because you can achieve the game plan more readily. So that's kind of the big question for me this week.
I feel like I would like them on offense in 5 versus 5, but in 3s, I feel like I'd like to force a situation where they're on defense doing well. I don't know. No, I appreciate you explaining that, though. That's good. What do you guys think about the team overall now?
I think it'll be solid. I think there was a lot of weird reactions I saw to people not being happy with Fugitive, Crosshairs. I don't know why I said Fugitive, it's just Crosshair. His Omicron. But I don't know if people understand exactly the implications that CG has built into this kit. I'm just going to lay this out as simply as I enjoy it, which is this is a character who is a cross between Geonosian Spy and Geonosian Soldier. And if you enjoy those characters at all, I think there's a lot to enjoy here. Easiest example. So he gets 15% turn meter whenever you get target practice, right?
Right.
He assists whatever a Bad Batch ally... With the Omicron, he assists whatever they use a special.
Yes.
So anytime you push a button, this man just gets 60% turn meter. During an APAC season. Technically, it's 45 out of season, but we are not out of season right now, so we're talking 60%.
Mm-hmm.
He's stacking crew damage and offense every time you do it to boot. Every time this man uses a basic, you also get potentially 60% turn meter. Like, basically everything this team does is give you more turns to press more buttons, to do more damage, to take more turns. And then on top of it, to boot, you just have, like, the Omega stealth rules. If you get the bonus turns whenever anyone ever repeatedly drops below 100% health. Which is just, like, again, an insanely high power budget. Just, like, historically, you would always see a rule set like that as, like, oh, the first time each ally falls below 100% health. And, like, they could have printed that, and I would have been like, yeah, that's on par. Yeah, that's expected, but they didn't. And so you've got those rules, you've got the team crit immunity, you've got the team constant regen. I'll tell you, I did not get to play GSC much this week for reasons that were not my own decision.
Oh, no.
So I kind of spent that time just soaking up this team's mechanics instead. And one other bit of knowledge that I discovered and have kind of been simmering on and don't have the good answer to is this, which is a character can have stealth and taunt at the same time. And we're not really used to that because, I mean, you think of it in the past, like there have been matchups in the past where like a taunt would wear off and they would just go back into stealth. But when it comes to Omega's lead, this is like the first lead where the concept of like, no, this character has stealth. Like this character gets all the benefits of having stealth actually matters. And so there are theory crafting opportunities to try to create a situation where you have a wrecker who has taunts, and is crit immune, and is regenerating every single turn, and has all of his other benefits to boot. That, yeah, I think this team, you know, a lot of the kits were short, and we kept on saying, like, man, it's not too much to talk about here. And that hasn't really changed, but there is still a lot of texture that I think now that we see the full picture, I think this feels like a full meal to me still.
Fair. I've heard early reports now with the full team, Java's going down. Not that, you know, that in itself is world breaking, but at least I'm hearing just in the early hours here of people having the team.
I killed an arena JMK with gas just now.
I was gonna say it's what this team looks like it's doing. I think Fatal put it perfectly. Every piece felt like it was one piece to another. For this team, this is the first one where when you read it, it's in itself feels very segmented. But when you put it all together and then facing it in threes and then getting an inkling of what it was doing when Fatal was doing it, and that kind of started the process of against Great Mothers, right? And we already see the team was starting to work. Seeing it together with the full picture and not seeing it with the Omis in effect right now, I underestimated it trying to think something, and that wasn't enough because the team is so durable. It sits there and takes forever to kill. And so you need to be in for the long fight. That's the one. The two is that they're so resilient at keeping themselves around. You would think there's called a AI playing it badly. When it's lined up perfectly, man, this team has got gumption. And it just feels like I said, I think Fatal, it's like Fatal said it well, but it's like you're reading a book And then when you put the books together, it's like, oh, there's the full story. Getting to see it in action and seeing what it was doing, I think people just don't understand it. So I think that's a good call out. But I think this team is around to stay, and people are underestimating what it will achieve with its full power.
Fair. Well, before we, sorry, you were going to say something, Sasha?
Well, I was just going to say, coming from the perspective, this is my first time really looking at Crosshair's kit, but having spent the last week or so running up against really well-equipped, subsets of this new Bad Batch squad, mostly with the Fomega, Wrecker, and Hunter. I was surprised and actually really kind of encouraged by the survivability of that squad, a little bit of complexity and sort of what you needed to do to take them down. And this feels like the properly synergistic piece to drop in and say, okay, if you're going to let them hang around as a squad, you're going to be punished for that, right?
Yeah.
This is the judgment. This is the repercussion. This is what happens if you don't get that puzzle, or you don't solve this relatively quickly. So not having seen it in action, although frankly, the description of taking out JMK with gas, description of taking out Jabba, that's pretty darn inspiring. But just from the pure theory perspective, boy, this seems like the right piece or the right chapter to be adding to the whole here. So I'm definitely I'm inspired. I didn't go all out. I don't have it ready for this GAC season, and I think the trade-offs may be somewhat painful in a 3v3. But boy, on fives, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Fair, yeah.
I'm kind of lukewarm on the team because we already have enough Triple Omi GAC teams and GLs to pretty much fill the entire board. So the floor of a team like this to be useful has to be exactly what you guys are saying. It has to be GLs. It has to do X, Y, and Z. Now, I don't have a problem with the team doing that, but I'm always going to be a little dubious of teams because they're generally going to come out with datacrons nowadays, so we won't know how good the team actually is till their datacrons rotate. So I am...
Their datacron is already out.
That's what I'm saying. They have a datacron. I'm saying, when they don't have a datacron propping them up, what is their floor then?
Yeah, fair.
That's why I said I'm cautiously optimistic. I like the team. I like that it's complex. Like I said a little while ago, I like that they have a little bit of that inquisitorness to them, where it's like, you will definitely get rewarded for being, I say, good at the video game. What I really mean is reading and understanding how the kits work. So, I'll be bad with this team, is what I'm trying to say. I will be trying to ask Fatal why I'm sucking with it. But all jokes aside, I think the team is very strong, and I love self-contained engines, which this team basically is. You can't really kill them, and if you do successfully almost kill them, they come back, they take a shit ton of turns, blah, 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 blah. I really like this team, but I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic because of how limited board slots are.
I'm definitely digging it, like I said. And to be the point, I'm the stingy Relic 9 guy. My record already has Relic 9. I'm looking at, I will be doing Mr. Scarred. He'll be getting that love. This is the team that feels like if you give it the love, I think Fatal called it perfectly. You make your record survive all of the hits and everything else, you're not going anywhere. That dude is so durable. And if you can't get through him, you can't get to the team. And you just sit there stuck while they just pummel you. And then you're killing yourself. That's what I said. And we'll talk about it in GAC, where I get to experience it, just a portion of it, without seeing the full power of what Crosshair is going to do, or what, the Marked and the other pieces are doing. And it's like, oof, it could be Datacron, it could not. But I don't know how much is actually perked up because it's mercenary based, and the team overall.
Well,
I was actually just making you talk about
AA level 3, as Fatal said. Their Datacron's a level 3.
I get that's what I'm right, but it's like they still sit there forever, and they want to play the game. They want a 5-minute match because you're literally killing yourself. At least that's what I felt like. I'm literally taking what I would consider durable teams, and I'm like, oh yeah, I see why this is where it's at right now. So I'm excited to see what you get to put the full power on, what this is going to do. But it's like, yeah, my record is R9 because if I can put it together and then stack his armor and stack the protect, you're just not going through him. He'll just sit there and take the hits, and then you're still waiting for a ticking time bomb coming from different areas.
Yeah, so
and then you're getting marked.
With Wrecker, you're trying to minimize his protection then, just max health, max defense, and just let them take him under 100% health to proc the bonus turns?
That's kind of been my approach so far. I mean, at first, I want to say like the very first week that Fugitive Omega came out, I had like default protection modding, and so like there were some fights where people were just straight up getting skipped past their health. I don't know if Wrecker's gonna have that issue, but I think the logic that I've been following along is what every time that someone takes a turn, you regen 4.5% of your health. So kind of there's a mini game here where whatever chips someone below full health, you get roughly 18% of your health back. So the more health you have, the greater the chance that you can potentially threaten getting back to 100% health naturally, regardless of whether your Fugitive Omega heals him or not, because I don't think you rely on that if you're interested in defense. So, yeah, I'm really kind of trying to lean on the effective health, but at the same time, if we're talking 5v5, Hunter gives the team 50% protection with his unique, so I can't really rule that out either. I think, like, truly, my approach to modding him on Hot Etil so far has just been using the mod stat sort and just sorting for effective health, which is defense and health and protection, like a maximum value combined, and kind of just giving him that as just like, here's the meat slab, he's sitting out of stealth. If the consideration changes at all, if we're talking like, X and Y matchup is punishing him for being on health modding, then yeah, I'll probably shift him back over to protection and lean in on the Hunter side of things. But yeah, I think a massive part of the team's power budget right now is the health dance, like I don't know what's it called, the health juggle. And so I don't think everyone on the team needs to be health modding. It might not be a bad idea, but like Wrecker especially, I'm kind of trying to play keep away with this health pool in that way.
Well, are we saying at the very least everybody's got a health circle on? Is that what we're saying?
I don't really mix unless I just like don't care and I just leave it up to Hot Eatles to fill it in.
Sure.
Yeah. Having health isn't really bad here unless you're in a matchup where it's actively bad. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad thing to have. Because technically, like, I'm talking about this like it's a tank-only dynamic. That dynamic does not go away when Wrecker is dead or captured and they're trying to work on other people. So technically speaking, 5x health could be correct. The only thing that's kind of pushing counterweight on it right now for me is the extra 50% protection. For some cases where if I'm like trying to make Fugitive Omega or Batcher or someone have more health plus protection than Wrecker is. Wrecker, as far as I remember, doesn't have any natural self-health steroids, and so if he is built for health and then like you want to put someone else over the top so that Wrecker gets stealth, then you can protection mod them as a way to cheat that up. And just like, the Hunter unique will naturally prop that person up and make it a little bit easier considering that Wrecker R9 is tank R9 and Fugitive Omega's support, or I guess Hunter, but you're not going to do that with Hunter. Fugitive Omega gets the 9k per, so it's not, 20k, 16k per, but it's not, attacker levels of bad either.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are basically the two axes. Is you got the Hunter protection unique to kind of unfairly favor someone if you just want to cheat them out that way. And then if you really have to, we're talking health sets just to try to get over the top because, yeah, right now, Wrecker is my only R9 in the squad, and I'm definitely with TJ that I'm looking for more. Like, Crosshair has the R9 damage boost on that one move, and that's, like, pretty good. I'm like, not complaining about it, but 10% damage is not going to, like, move the needle all the time for me. That it would be an easy second R9 to play us, but I'm kind of looking at the stealth interaction right now and trying to, like, really read the tea leaves on, like, is it Batcher? Is it Omega? Batcher's making a lot with this amp egg, so maybe he's actually not bad, but Omega, she's got the stealth reshuffle, and, like, if this team is defense 5v5 worthy, then maybe you actually want Omega to get sacrificed so that she can't reshuffle, or, like, I'm overthinking things a lot right now, but this is kind of where my head is at in terms of health and protection and the push and pull there. You can kind of make whatever decisions you want from there.
Yeah, I just took what was going to cost me the least headaches taking from other people to get him set up for this final week of 3 versus 3. But, since we have been talking about modding, organic way to transition into that, I decided to go with, it seemed like, fast crit damage set, probably with crit chance because, with a 2-piece, I'm still just under 110. It'd be nicer if it was maybe a little higher than that, but yeah, this is the direction I went in. 314 speed, crit damage triangle, so 240% crit damage, 10.7k offense, just under 110% crit chance. So
I would sacrifice quite a bit of speed for offense because the crit damage he gives himself and that Omega gives. I think you want an offense set to help lean into that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And
I thought about
I don't
it.
think I don't think speed's all that important on him. He gains 15% turn meter, especially in GAC. He's going to gain 15% turn meter on everyone's turn. Mm-hmm. So he's going to take so many turns. Think of him like Resistance Trooper.
Yeah.
Like just offense arrow, offense cross, stack offense on the other 3 mods that aren't offense primaries.
He's
maybe
definitely your slappy.
75 speed is fine, but I would err more on the side of just potency, offense, and crit chance.
Well, the potency for what? The first special?
The defense down.
That can't be resisted.
Oh, yeah, if you're talking about the basic, right, that can't be evaded or resisted. Yeah.
Fine. I lied. Potency doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's one of the nice things about his kit, yes.
Yeah, crit chance and offense and bulk. Preferably defense to keep him in stealth.
I think it's interesting that I think you can make arguments for both, and I don't think either side is necessarily wrong. I think if we're talking 3v3 specifically for future seasons, the one thing I think really stands out to me is when you're interested in a turn order sequence of Crosshair into Omega, because then if we're talking at least playing on offense, you can Crosshair for a special, Omega cooldown reset with the heal, and then Crosshair for a special again, and that'll get you, some pretty good tempo. I actually technically don't have those for this week because I did some last second Omega mod swaps because hers were kind of bad. But
that is a good point. Outside of turn order shenanigans, he gains so much turn meter that I'm not sure. Yeah, you're right. Well, if you're trying to do like turn order stuff, then because doesn't Omega give herself 50 speed from her unique?
Oh, I actually forgot about that. Oh, fuck.
Yes. That's if what's bad is you read these huge numbers in each kit when this person is on. Because if you go to Batcher, that's 50% offense or whatever it is. When you go to hers, and then so each character brings something huge to each part of the fight. Because if you go to Wrecker, he's bringing in a lot of defense, and there's adding in stacks there, and there's a whole bunch of turns that are being taken. Each piece puts the team together with huge numbers.
Okay, that speed gives me some absolution that it would happen that way this week no matter what. Breeding kits is pretty good. I should do that more. Fuck, man. Anyway.
You're supposed to be the one who knows these things.
No,
and
but
take
there's
comfort.
so many pieces
on you.
Dude, you literally have to copy and paste and put everything together to read it as one solid team, right? There's so many pieces into each portion. That's what I'm saying. It's like you get all of the segmented books.
I think this genuinely comes down to playstyle. Is when you this is the weird thing. This is the problem, right? When you operate in this much turn meter, you can make both arguments sound so fucking good. Of like, oh man, he gains so much turn meter, you don't need the speed. You could just cheat down on offense, and he's gonna be going crazy. But at the same time, you do the math on his effective speed. It's like, okay, so a 300 character speed, and then is what divided by 0.4 is like, okay, this is like an effective 600 speed character or whatever. And then you make the argument of like, well, the more turns that he takes, actually, you're generating more crit damage and offense anyway, so your modding doesn't matter. Just blah. Right? I don't know that either way is necessarily incorrect. I think with a kit that resonates the way this does, he's just like a well-tuned engine. I think he's kind of happy no matter which way you take him, which is extremely pop-out.
It almost sounds
Fatal.
like...
You heard Fatal. You put him in defense sets with protection primaries.
Motherfucker,
Dude,
he
like
starts
I
off with
said-
200% defense. You watch yourself. People
but
have
it's
already people have already shit posted that like, okay, so if you're looking for someone who isn't record to put out a stealth, it's Crosshair for the defense, right? And my answer to that is no. But people are having those conversations.
Okay, so my joke is that people are actually like legitimately thinking that. Okay, sorry.
He's got the
Don't encourage bad
200% starting
behavior.
defense. He's got the defense. He's got it.
You know, I'm
I
thinking
think you are right.
turn?
to what you said just a minute ago, though, Fatal. If you wanted to have Crosshair be that fast, there's pretty much no way to do that outside of a speed set. Yeah.
Well, it depends on how fast you want Omega to be, because like there's a reasonable chance of using a team on offense. Because okay, so I'll kind of walk you through like what I have. I'm at 313 with Omega at 176 plus speed. That means she's 363. She's still not outspeeding shit. So what I'm saying is I don't know how fast you need Omega to be. So what you would do is you'd mod Crosshair the way you want to mod him, and then bring Omega in right under him or right over him, however you want that to kind of work.
The nature of this team with the bonus turns, like so much of the decision making isn't necessarily about trying to beat out anything. Is just like what's the general tempo of your team going to be after those bonus turns proc. And I do think that there's a world where you could almost kind of harken back to like Separatist droid days where like a lot of characters like B2 just weren't really modded for speed, and you were just like, I'm going to get to take my turn eventually, and that's your problem, and I'm just going to build for whatever else happens in the meantime.
Yeah, this feels a lot like Seer as well, where Seer doesn't really care if you go first. Once they start taking turns, you just start dying. And that's kind of how this team feels as well, is all they have to do is live long enough to start getting turns, which depends a lot on wreckers, bulk, and everyone's general just like not being tissue paper.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm sorry. You were saying something?
No, just my closing thought, I guess.
Please.
I think the team doesn't really demand speed, and you're like not that sad if you don't have it. Again, just the bonus turn clause is like excellent. That if you would rather make sure that your team is bulky and stands strong, and you're going like 3x defense over speed defense, I think that's probably like a wise choice. That's probably fine. But the thing that makes me kind of reconsider or question it is really just Crosshair. Is just he is so fucking thrilled, overjoyed to see anyone come through with a turn that's kind of what has me thinking speed brain now of like,
especially in back with his Omi, where he's assisting every special.
Yeah. So that's kind of the push and pull that I'm thinking through right now is like, your team could be modded for 400 speed, and if like you take a set bonus turns, your turn meter bar is reset, and then that gets reset again before you would have taken a turn naturally. That's a wasted stat. You actually just wasted those speed mods that could have been on something else. So I really think this is a team that's sensitive to how are they going to get used? What do we see them getting used by? Because it sounds very cop-out, but like there are good-ass arguments for both sides of this where like, maybe your team takes a bonus turn, but you know that your opponent's using teams that usually like chill around 270. If your team's turn meter thresholds get thrown off by the bonus turn, maybe just being higher tempo than they usually are could actually be interesting. That like, yeah, man, even like a speed set Crosshair could be within range in these conversations. I have a pretty similar default modding to Task where like I'm high speed, accuracy arrow, crit damage for the time being, and I think that's just a safe neutral default. But yeah, for as simple as the squad's kits are, it's a very strategic team, I would say. Like,
if you put it on defense, be careful because I think Gungans still kind of run this team over.
Gungans run over a lot of things this season, so I've been.
Well, yeah, because they get in between the bonus turns is the only reason I bring that up.
Yeah, fair. That's a good one.
Are we talking 3v3 or 5v5?
I was thinking more 5v5 because I get we're in 3v3, but I don't really think in terms of 3v3. So I don't know.
But we can't debuff the generator, can we? So Ampag wouldn't gen shred.
Yeah.
Wait! But the generator can't dodge, can it?
I don't believe so. No.
So the crosshair assists. Can the generator get target practice stacks? Like, can it be?
I don't believe so. I don't believe the generator can be affected by that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Not like that. Special effects.
And that's kind of what I mean is I think I'm simply saying that there might be some natural predators to this, so the modding may, like to Fatal's point, the modding may actually matter. I mean, granted, we're saying right now that the mods don't matter a ton, but turn order and things like that may matter depending on if this is a defensive team, depending on what ends up being used against it, et cetera, et cetera.
I think the modding is flexible, but I think the modding actually matters a lot. It's just hard to say what the best choice is until we know what we're up against for either offensive kill list or, I will probably be trying this team on defensive 5v5. I think it's just got the tool set to be at least interesting and asking questions that I want to see opponents have to answer. But yeah, once we see it on defense, if we see what people like to use by default, then that'll adjust the decision making as well.
All right. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for joining me on this video. It was a really good breakdown, and now that we have the full kit in mind, I'm actually looking forward to the team. I mean, I had hopes for it, so it's meeting expectations for me, and yeah, the next 5 vs 5 season is going to be lit with this, I can tell. All right, for everybody watching, if you're seeing this on YouTube, give it a like, hit subscribe if you want to see more from the channel, and until next time, it's been real, it's been awesome, it's been real awesome. Take care.